What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel for another 1/6 scale figure review. Today we're taking a look at the InArt Collectibles Ron Weasley Premium Rooted Hair Edition, and I'm really excited to take a look at this with you guys because this is my first full unboxing of any InArt figure that I own currently on the channel. The reason being is the timing just wasn't right. I was in the later batches on the other figures, and I truly believe in timing when it comes to reviews. If there's a bunch of reviews out already, typically, I don't review it because I feel like it's been covered enough, but I might as well strike while the iron's hot here on Ron since there aren't too many videos out, and I'm really excited to do that with you guys today. I will say I usually don't focus too much on the packaging anymore because I know people just skip right past that, but for this figure and for any InArt figure really, I really want to focus on the packaging a little bit more than I usually do. They just do such a beautiful job. Their unboxing experience is amazing. I love that they do multiple outer boxes when it's shipped. I will say big shout out to Kit and InArt for their amazing packaging because I had a massive dent in the bottom of my box and it went through the shipper box from Kit, then through InArt shipper box, then it went through their inner gray box, and then thankfully my art box was virtually untouched. So a big plus to them for the care that they take in shipping. It definitely shows. But before we move on to anything inside the box, let me take this reflective outer sleeve off and show you what we're working with when it comes to the art box. The amount of care and thought that's gone into the packaging alone really shows how much the team cares about putting out a really special product with this Harry Potter line. They even have, and they've done this before, a little lenticular here in the middle. It's hard to show on camera, but when it moves, it goes from the chessboard to Ron Weasley's face, which is really cool to see. And of course, as always, with any InArt unboxing, you are greeted with the instruction manual, a letter thanking you for your purchase, and my favorite part, the little movie ticket with the character's face on it. And I may be the only one that cares about these, but I think it's so freaking cool, and I think it'd be really nice if you could frame all of them together on your wall as you continue to collect these figures. InArt is always a fun, yet stressful and overwhelming unboxing experience just based on purely the amount of stuff you get. I do love that everything is individually wrapped in plastic just to keep it protective. I'm very excited seeing all of these accessories laid out here. I wonder why my Ron Weasley head is cocked to the side there. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with it, but I just thought that was funny. But now without further ado though, guys, let's stop teasing you all. Let me take all of the accessories and the figure out of the art box, and let's take a closer look at all of the details. So first things first, we're going to take a look at the head sculpt just because I want to. I don't want to wait any longer. I'm really excited to take a look at this with you guys. I have not looked at it off camera, so I will say I'm not used to seeing this particular head sculpt container. I don't know if this is new for Ron, but at least everything that I own, I've never seen this particular design. I think it looks really good, and I actually prefer this over the old case. The reason I say that is the other one actually had like a silver metal piece. I'm sure you guys remember it, and it always came unglued, and also I feel like maybe this is just a bit more streamlined looking. Sorry about the reflection of the light, guys. It's kind of inevitable because of the shiny surface, but let's take the lid off the case and let's get a look at this head sculpt. I'll say this immediately, this case is way better. I felt like getting the lid off of the other one was super sketchy. This one has just the right amount of tension, and as you take it off, you're greeted with your head sculpt. Of course, first impressions are everything, and I am very, very happy and impressed. I think InArt did a fantastic job, not only with styling the hair, that looks great, but just the expression overall I think is very Ron Weasley, especially from the first film. I think this looks great, guys, and that initial panic with the final product photos always makes me laugh because you can kind of tell if a sculpt is good or not and it's just in poor lighting. I will get a bit closer up so we can see the details a little bit better. Now, even though I think he looks fantastic on camera, it's always hard to show off the details on these Harry Potter figures because they are so young in this particular portrayal, so their skin doesn't have a lot of wrinkles or details like that, but I still think he looks absolutely fantastic. I love what they've done with the hair once again. I think they nailed the hair color. I think that looks spot on to Rupert Grint. And I just think he looks amazing, guys. They did such a fantastic job. I'm very pleased with how this looks. And when you want to actually affix this to the body, all you have to do is just twist it and pull up. I love the improvements that InArt has made to the case system. That definitely does not go unnoticed. And once again, the more I look at this head sculpt, I'm just so very pleased with how it looks. I will say the amount of flesh tone hands included with this set is a bit disappointing. Only 3 extras and 2 pre-installed on the figure. Obviously, you also get these 5 gloved hands as well for the winter look, but I will say what is very, very impressive is the paintwork on both of these. I kind of just lied there. I just realized I completely missed one of the hands that was still in my box. My apologies for that. So there are 6 total included flesh tone hands. Sorry I had to go super zoom on you, but the paintwork on the hands is very nicely done. You can see that airbrushed in vein work there, the spotting on the skin. Very, very nicely done. And I'm not gonna lie to you, these might be some of the best, most realistic looking 1/6 scale gloves I've ever seen. I mean, you cannot tell me that does not look like real fabric, and this is sculpted plastic. It really tricks your eyes. Those are amazing. The binoculars that are included are really nice. This feels like a real leather strap to me and kind of smells like it too, so I'd be inclined to believe that it is. These are also painted really well. I will say there's a bit of like a burr on the inside of mine. You could see it right there. Honestly, if I spent enough time, I could probably get that out. That's not a big deal to me, but yeah, really nicely done. Of course, being that Ron is a student at Hogwarts, it does come with 3 textbooks. I will say this one in particular is pretty low res. Maybe there was a lack of references for this one, but that's a bit disappointing. It's not a total deal breaker for me, but it does look pretty crappy in comparison to the other 2. And of course, InArt thought ahead to put things on each and every single page. This is very impressive. They actually made the pages look weathered as well, which is really cool. So apart from that one book looking a bit low res, I can let that slide because the other ones look really good. It does come with a little chocolate frog box straight off the trolley. This actually doesn't feel cheap. It's a pretty sturdy material. I'm pretty surprised by that because it looked like it was just going to crumble in my hands. Something that's cool, but I was pretty let down by, are the little famous wizard cards that normally come in the chocolate frog boxes. You can see a bunch of mine are damaged. A lot of them are damaged on the back because they're just kind of crammed in the foam packaging underneath the chocolate frog box, so they're already damaged for me upon arrival. I love that it comes with 3 different chocolate frogs. If you look closely, they're all in slightly different poses, and you actually can open the frog box and have one of the little frogs sitting in there. Of course, we have to have our Birdie Bots Every Flavored beans. These look really nicely done as well. It's a bit weird that the beans are like a sculpted like cylinder in there, and they're just kind of free floating, as you could see, but from afar you're not going to notice that. It looks really good. And I can't remember the name of these for the life of me, but these are basically, I think, like little pieces of licorice. If you look closely, as tiny as these are, they actually do have a printed design on them. That is very impressive. I don't know how they did that, but it looks really good. Easily the most random accessory, have like 2 little chicken drumsticks. They definitely look realistic, though I don't ever see myself using this for any Harry Potter figure, but it would be cool to use with another figure. And here we have Scabbers. I would say he looks cute, but we all know this is really Peter Pettigrew, that slimy little rat. Ron's little 1/6 scale wand is so tiny, but they managed to put some weathering on it to make it look like real wood. That's really cool. I will say one thing I like that Hot Toys did with their Fantastic Beast figures, not only did they have a loose wand in the box, but they also had a hand pre-sculpted with the wand in it. Maybe that'll be a suggestion for InArt in the future with Snape and Dumbledore and all the other figures they plan on doing for Harry Potter, but nonetheless, I'm happy with how this looks. This is one of the 2 tables included in this set. I believe this is the one that's meant to go with the Gryffindor Common Room Deluxe base. It looks really nice. The sculpting is beautiful. It makes it look like real wood. It's almost hard to believe that it's not. It has some nice weight to it, and it's painted really well. Okay, this has to be my favorite accessory with the set, and I will say this. There was a decision made with this that I think was the right move to make, and that's that most of the chest pieces are actually sculpted in place to the board, so they can't fall off or anything. Yes, it would have been cool if you could move every piece individually, but I feel like that would have been a nightmare for posing. If you ever have to move it to another display, it would just be a pain in the ass. So I do like what InArt's done here by sculpting those in place. I think that makes a lot of sense. Flipping it to the other side to look at the red pieces as well, it just looks really good, and all the little details on the pieces, the weathering on them to make them look like a real like stone material. This is beautiful. One of probably the coolest 1/6 scale accessories I've ever seen. You could see the actual pattern on the chessboard squares are really nice. The trim around the outside edge, those little legs on the bottom. It does come with 2 loose chess pieces as well to kind of make it look like it's in play. Again, I much prefer that decision. I totally understand some people are going to be like, no, I would prefer to make that decision on my own. But for me, this is the way to go. There isn't much to say about these. Here's your winter cloak with that really nicely done patch, and then your scarf that goes with it. As I mentioned earlier, it does come with 2 tables. I believe this is the one that you're meant to sit the chessboard on. Again, really nicely sculpted and painted. It looks like real wood in person. Gryffindor! All three of the Gryffindor trio come with a sorting hat. I believe there's only 2 unique sculpts though, so one of them, I believe maybe it's Hermione, comes with a duplicate. That's a bit unfortunate, but he does look really good and very convincing. You do have some real fabric going on the inside. This looks fantastic. I absolutely love the versatility of this display base. This is obviously the main base here. You can see that like gothic design there on the sides. It looks really nice and the paint job's really dope. Something that's very unique, if you don't want to use this very large display base, you could simply stick your hand underneath there and pop out this main base here, and you're left with a much smaller, more detail-friendly display base. And on the front, it actually does say Ron Weasley. Of course, like other InArt figures, you do have that magnet system underneath. You spin this disc in the direction of the arrows and you can access those little shifting magnet plates. I know this was definitely improved, at least with the InArt Superman in my recent experience, so I'm hoping I have no issues. I imagine these figures will stick on pretty well because they're so small, but only time will tell. And if you do decide to go all out with the full Gryffindor common room diorama, you do have this top cover that makes it look like a wood floor, and of course the rest of it will peg in there. I will fully assemble it towards the end of this video, but let's get a quick close-up on the details on that backdrop. To put it simply, guys, I'm truly blown away by the work that InArt has done here. You can see those little lenticular frames there at the top. That paint job on the frames looking like a real like brass material is just so beautiful. This in-house made wallpaper that they put on here, it's like a fabric, is just simply beautiful. The print is amazing. The details are just incredible. And when we flip it around to the back, you can see the stone sculpted in and painted. It's different from the one Harry comes with. You can see even more weathering there towards the bottom. So having these all next to each other, kind of connected, touching each other, is going to be such an amazing display. And as someone who considers themselves a Gryffindor, this is really just a dream come true. Okay, I've certainly made you guys wait long enough. So let's take a look at the figure with the Headsculpt now installed on the body. As you can see, it just looks like a real person here in my hands. It's just such an amazing feat that InArt has pulled off so far with this line. Both of the figures, both Harry and Ron, have been absolutely incredible and lifelike. As you get closer up, you can see that head sculpt once again is just spot on. It really is. If you don't think this looks like Rupert Grint, you need to look up some more photos and compare them to the actual movie stills, because it looks spot like him. I love the chosen expression, that subtle smile. Getting it in hand, it looks less goofy than it does in some of the production photos. It just looks really good. Of course, Ron's robe, and we will compare Harry and Ron briefly in this video, but Ron's robe does have more of like a worn, like grayish look to it, because you know the Weasleys, they're big on hand-me-downs. They have so many kids. Sometimes you gotta have hand-me-downs. We all had hand-me-downs growing up when we had siblings. Moving down though, beautiful work here on the robes. Of course, they are wired at the bottom, so you could do some really cool poses with them. Maybe casting some spells and having some wind kind of kicked behind it. The inside of the robe has that like velvety liner that looks really good. The tailoring and fitment on the pants to the shoes is nearly perfect. The shoes look really nicely done. You actually have some little socks under there. InArt does a great job at not making the ankles look like there's nothing there. Sometimes when you see these 6-scale socks, there's like a kind of an empty void in the ankle area, and that's not present here, so I'm really happy to see that. The robe itself actually attaches like the real robes do. You just kind of unloop it here at the button, so let me do that very quickly. And I will certainly always prefer the fully robed look, but this is not a bad look either. I think they did a great job in the choice of bodies for these versions of these characters. I think it looks really good. Again, the sweater is beautifully tailored like everything else. It looks like it literally was pulled right off of the screen. They just did such a fantastic job. Their material choice with the Harry Potter line so far has been truly A1. And once again, it doesn't matter whether you have the robe off, if you have it in this form, or with the winter cloak on. It just looks so good, and it looks like it was pulled right off of the screen. I'm not going to get into posing too much, but the body feels really good. You can see it poses really well. The elbows kind of stop at 90, a little bit beyond 90. Not a huge deal to me, but I am surprised by that. You can really pose the body however you want though, especially if you want them like sitting down. You can see there's a bit of like spring back there, but that doesn't bother me too much. You can have them in a nice sitting pose if you want. But let's grab Harry and let's compare Ron to Harry. I gotta be honest with you guys, having these two in hand finally reunited at last, the two best pals, is just such an amazing feeling. I love these movies so much, And this is what makes collecting worth it to me. Recreating my favorite moments from my childhood, the first film of one of my favorite franchises, and these guys look great together. I will say the most notable difference between the two, as you can see, is the robe color in terms of the outfit. Obviously, Harry got some coinage over from Gringotts and went with Hagrid to buy some brand new stuff. Whereas Ron over here, he's in a big family. Like I said earlier, and you guys know this, the Weasleys love their hand-me-downs, so he doesn't have a brand new robe. His looks a little tattered and old, but they look so good together. The tailoring is very similar. There's continuity with the fabric choice. It looks spot on. Just such a great job, and these guys just look amazing together. I think this is probably my preferred way to display them, both with the robe kind of opened up so you can see the sweater and everything underneath. I just think it looks really good. I didn't mention this earlier, but you do have wiring in the sleeves as well as the bottom of the robe, so that's really nice and aids in a bunch of different options for posing. But now, without further ado, let's throw Ron and Harry in a couple poses, and we'll close out this video, and I'll share my final thoughts. Well, if I didn't make it obvious in this video, I love this figure. I really like what InArt has done here with this line so far. And Ron is a pleasant surprise, because this is one I feel like a lot of people were hesitant on this one because they felt like the likeness might not quite be there because of the chosen expression. I'm happy to say, though, I think he looks amazing. I think he looks lifelike. The accessories are great. And the figure here in the common room display is just really a dream figure for me. I will say, in person, these figures just come off so much better. There's not that much to go off of when it comes to the paint apps on the head sculpts and the hands because they were so young during this film, but InArt has done such a fantastic job, and like I said, the hair really surprised me. There's plenty of product. I'm not messing with the rolling eyes on any of these figures because I did that on previous figures and it kind of messed up the hair to where it didn't look factory, and I'm not going to do that with Ron especially because he just looks so good how he is. And I know everybody's been dying to see these diorama bases together, so as you can see, they look awesome together. Of course, the same complaint that we all had before, they don't get super close. You can see down here, it's kind of unavoidable due to the shape of the base. I totally understand it. I will show you something that was a bit unfortunate, kind of a continuity error between the line. Let me show you real quick. So look at the paint color of the Harry Potter nameplate, and then look at the paint color of the Ron Weasley nameplate. If you could tell, one is like more of a gold color, the Ron being the gold one, and then when we move over to Harry, Harry is more of like a yellow, so that's a bit weird that they've done that. Now they don't look quite uniform together, if you will. Not a huge deal, but definitely a bit disappointing. And there's actually enough space in between the two bases to have them casually practicing spells with each other in the Gryffindor common room, breaking the rules as always. And this is going to be our final pose for this video. Sorry guys, I'd like to do way more, but I feel like I've made this video long enough with the amount of accessories I had to show off. He looks nice and bundled up here with the winter gear. Obviously, I have the binoculars around his neck as well, and that's a really great look. I won't particularly go for this look in my display, but I do think it looks really nicely recreated here in this pose. I think we're going to end off the video here with a bit closer up shot on the figure. Once again, I am very pleased. InArt did such a fantastic job with this. Not a lot of QC issues. I had no issues with the hand pegs on mine. They are the exact same hand pegs that came with Harry, so be very careful. Anyways, let me know what you think of this figure in the comments down below. Is this an absolute home run once again by InArt? I think it is. I think they've done a fantastic job. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. See ya.